All right, so we are here celebrating some amazing success with our client, Brett. He's been in our program for about 4 months now.
4 months, yeah.
About 4 months, and he's here to share some of his experience. Brett, you ready to rock this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So Brett, just tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? What do you do? Just a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Live in Oklahoma City. I've lived here for 26 years. I came here to go to Southern Nazarene University in Bethany, Oklahoma. I've for the last 23 years, I've worked for the same organization, a company called Sodexo. We do food service facilities around the country. I'm the senior director of talent management. So I do employee development, identifying high potentials, helping them reach their career goals. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. I was born in 75, so I'm 46. Grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania until I was 14, at which point my parents moved us to Phoenix, Arizona. They had very severe drug addictions and decided at the tender age of 14, after they had lost our home and cars were to be repossessed, we packed up everything overnight and moved away from hometown, family, everything, and moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where they became part of the booming methamphetamines trade, which is very, very big in Phoenix, Arizona, and spent the next 4 years trying to survive, living from abandoned house to tents to you name it, just trying to survive. I had a number of jobs through that time. I was really actually the only person with a job because I was the only person that was sober. Made it through high school, and then my senior year of high school, I went to jail twice for assault, very severe assault. I was 19 at that time. I turned 19 in October. So the second time I got out of jail, my best friend's parents picked me up and they said, you're going to end up dead or in prison or, who knows what. So they invited me to come live with them. I packed up all my stuff, went to live with them, and they helped me get into college, took the entrance exams, and spent my first year in Plainview, Texas. If you've never heard of it, there's no surprise you haven't heard of it. It's between Lubbock and Amarillo. It's a very small town. Went there for a year and then moved to Oklahoma City and have been here ever since.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, Brett. So just tell us a little bit, walk us through like what you were really struggling with before you started this program.
Yeah, sure. So about 3 years ago, I went to the doctor, and I have had the same doctor for 10, 15 years. And he stepped on the scale and I'd hit just north of 300 pounds. He's, we need to do blood work, because I just avoided the doctor like the plague. I hated going because I was, embarrassed about my weight. I had high blood pressure, and I just assumed there were other things wrong with me. So he did blood panels, came back a couple weeks later, sat down and said, okay, do you want to kill yourself? Is that what you're trying to do? Because you already have high blood pressure, which is a family thing. You're pre-diabetic. There's a bunch of deficiencies in your vitamins and this and this. And he just listed off all this stuff. And I went, well, crap. And I was, I've read the book, The Big Leap now, and have really been thinking a lot about it. And I was in that position of, I've always been very successful at work, got a great job, great career, but it's like every time something good would happen at work, I would pull myself, physically, I just was a mess. No exercise. I ate terribly. I drank a lot. I mean, in some cases, a bottle of scotch a night, just because I didn't care. And, I was miserable. I was in a marriage, which I'm now divorced, was in a marriage that was very unfulfilling. And so I sat there and I went, okay, well, I got to do something about this. So I went home and I happened upon a book about taking really small steps. And so I decided that I was going to start walking in place for 60 seconds a day. And I was going to do that until it was a habit. And I felt ridiculous doing it. I thought it was, stupid to start that small, but that's what I did. And before I knew it, a couple weeks went by. It was a habit. I started standing on the treadmill for 5 minutes a day, not walking, standing on the treadmill, because I was so overweight. I was miserable. I couldn't move. My knees hurt. It all hurt. And trying to run or anything with that much weight on you, it just was miserable. So just really built it from there. And I started doing yoga, DDPY yoga, which is a professional wrestler. He has a yoga system that's kind of funny and it's fun to do. And it's, he tailors it for bigger people. And I just started doing that. I started watching a little bit what I ate, and the pounds came off a little bit at a time. And then, as I started to see progress, I fell into my whole life, I did one fad or another. I mean, there was one time I went a month, I just ate potatoes. That was going to solve my health problems, just eating white potatoes for a month. Talk about a miserable diet.
And Brett,
yeah,
what have been your specific results just since you started the program?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I eat things that I like in moderation. I have almost stopped drinking completely, and not through any sort of like forcing myself. I work out every single day and I freaking love it. Like, my body is changing, but more importantly, my mind has changed. Like, the very first habits that you all started with, eating slowly and eating to 80% was like game changer for me. And I remember sitting there after having had protein banana pancakes and not finishing them all and not forcing myself to, and going, this is really weird. Like, I've never left meal like, oh, this is my calories, so I'm going to eat that. And it has just completely changed my relationship with food. I went over to a friend's house last Saturday night, ate what I wanted in moderation, and didn't feel the need to binge. And I mean, I'd go through cycles of binging and eating DoorDash 4 or 5 times a week when I was drunk. And of course the weight, I've lost I've lost more weight in the last 4 months than I, from, comparing the 2.5 to, 2 years, 7 months before that. And I just feel very consistent. I feel centered. I'm not, it's not a struggle. I'm never hungry. I mean, I could literally go on forever. My life has completely changed.
That's amazing, Brett. And what were, like, at the beginning, what were you kind of skeptical of? What kept you from taking actions?
So when I first reached out to you, I was just going through the divorce, and I didn't know how much it was going to cost. And I didn't want to go like, well, Rob, how much is it going to cost? But, I was going through that time and trying, divorce hadn't settled. So I was a little concerned about the financial at that time. But I was really, I think I was so unused to investing in myself that not just the money, but the time, and saying I hired somebody. Like, I remember the first time I told somebody that I hired a coach, and they were like, what? And like, not just like, really? Like, you did that? And I assumed, being completely transparent, that you were going to try to sell me a bunch of supplements or sell me some fad diet. And I mean, that became quickly obvious. It was obvious very quickly that was not the case, but you never know, like, going into it, like when I did my intake call with the guy, I can't remember his name. And I realized, okay, that's not what they're doing. So, this is a lifestyle change. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm in, like, I'm sold.
Amazing. And Brett, what would you say to somebody who maybe just signed up, they're a little scared about getting started in the program?
Being scared is great. And I feeling the stress of being new is a good thing. It means that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're trying something different. And if you're not worried or anxious about changing your life, something is probably wrong. I mean, I was scared to death. Like, after, what made me feel the best was when I paid the bill, and I read, you're not going to get your money back, so invest. Like, you're in. So just, so I would say to somebody that just signed up, it's okay to be nervous, but give your whole self to it, follow the process, and I can guarantee that you're going to see results. I guarantee.
Amazing, Brett. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing your continued progress on your journey.
Thanks. Me too.